Today we start a series just for teachers. So today I want to first talk about allowing some space and time in the beginning of your practice. When you see your students moving, hold off for just a moment before you cue them into the next posture. It looks like this.
Downward facing dog. And as soon as I come into down dog, you can see that I'm moving into my body, feeling my hands on the floor. And I'll start to shake my head here, and you'll know now that at any moment I'm going to come into stillness, ragdoll pose. Whereas here in this variation, if I were to call ragdoll right away, ragdoll, you can see it's a little jarring to the body.
This is helpful because slowing down at the beginning of practice allows students to settle into their body. If you find that your students aren't participating in oming, it may not be because they're scared or nervous or just don't want to do it. It may be your leadership in the oming itself. When you guide an om, you want to guide with confidence and from your center. If it's coming from the throat, the sound's going to skip and won't be powerful enough for students to hear the tone to follow along with. So try this. Start in low boat to get the abdomen engaged. Make the ah sound. And as you come up into high boat, let the sound reverberate out. Try that a few times and then start to activate it from your easy seat where you typically guide an om from or from standing. As instructors, we are in front of people all the time, and one of the biggest difficulties is knowing and having the confidence that who you are is enough to teach a quality yoga class of any type. The pitfall that we fall into is trying to create some experience, and the first thing we adjust is our voice. Now reach your hands up to the ceiling. Forward fold. Half lift, downward dog. Teaching in this way isn't necessarily wrong. It creates an artificial experience for your students. So instead, try using your true voice, who you are, and know that that is enough to teach a rockin' yoga class. You can only take your students as far as you're willing to go yourself. What I mean by that is be in your practice. Students can see right through you if you are only talking the talk and not walking the walk. So check back in with your yamas and your niyamas and your 8 limbs of yoga practice. How well are you practicing ahimsa, nonviolence? Are you courageously speaking your truth without harming others? How well are you moderating your consumption of things and food? These are all questions to ask yourself so that you, by example, can encourage and inspire your students to dive deeper into the practice of yoga. If you're working with beginners, you will give clear directional cues, where to put their foot, where to reach their hands, without overwhelming them. So be intentional with how many cues you are providing. If you're working with more seasoned practitioners, you'll provide more energetic cueing. Hug into the bone, hug into the skin, start to awaken their body from the inside out so that they can connect deeper to their practice. Many instructors are not using music to the best of their ability. It begins to become a filler in their classes as a form to fill silence, when silence is so precious in our yoga practice. So my big question to you is, why are you playing music? And are you creating intentional music lists to support the way that you're teaching? If this is a new topic or maybe something you haven't thought about before, you might check into our 300-hour teacher training or keep an eye out on our schedule for music-related workshops. Wink, wink. Last week we had guest instructor Matt Giordano, so if you missed it, be sure to check back because he had an awesome tip for you last week. Our final tip for teachers. As instructors, we often get into this business because we've experienced some kind of transformation from this practice and we want to share it with others. As our teaching starts to grow, we begin to ask ourselves, what do I need? What do I need to be a better instructor? Instead of asking, what do my students need? If you start to ask the question, what do my students need, then it is going to inherently guide the future and growth of your teaching. So ask yourself, what do my students need? What do my students need?